I'm new intern Lauren and I'm from Melbourne, Australia. Australia is in the southern hemisphere, which means that our seasons are at different times of year than those in the northern hemisphere, like where you are in the United States. So we have summer in December, January and February. The fall is in March, April, May. Winter is June, July, August, and spring is September, October and November. This means that we celebrate Christmas during summer. During summer we eat foods like fresh seafood, passion fruit, watermelons, and lots of berries. My favourite is the mango. We have some really lovely mangoes that are grown in northern Australia. They are called calypso mangoes.
Everybody gather round, the calypso man. People come from all around, see calypso man. Everybody love the calypso man. Everybody love calypso man. We are happy now, calypso man. Everybody love a calypso man.
With Christmas being in the summertime, we eat a little differently to how you would at Christmas in the United States. We eat things like cheese platters, seafood. Some families will still eat a Christmas ham. And for dessert, we have cherries, an ice cream pudding, which is just like your regular Christmas pudding, only covered in ice cream. Another traditional dessert that we have for Christmas is called a trifle. This is a layered dessert, usually consisting of fresh berries, custard or cream, and a sponge cake layered with jam. If you're at a sporting event like the tennis or the football, you will find things like a typical Australian meat pie that's usually eaten with ketchup. Then there are sausage rolls, which is another pastry filled with minced meat. Now let's look at some typical Australian snacks. We have Vegemite, which is a savoury spread usually eaten on bread with butter. A lot of people don't like Vegemite because they find it too salty, but the key is only to use a little bit at a time. Next we have barbecue shapes, which are an Australian favourite. They are a crunchy, savoury snack covered in barbecue flavouring. These are lamingtons. Lamingtons are a sponge cake layered with jam and covered in chocolate and coconut. They are usually eaten as a dessert at parties or served with an afternoon tea. My favourites are these. They are called Tim Tams. They are a chocolate biscuit, which is what we call them, but you would call them a cookie. They come in many different flavours and can sometimes be found here in the US in some supermarkets. Next we have some typical Australian ice creams like a frosty fruit, a paddle pop and a buffalo bill. At birthday parties you will find this. It's called fairy bread. Fairy bread is usually plain white bread covered in butter and then sprinkled with sprinkles on top. Now we have the Australian barbecue. Australians tend to have barbecues all year round, but especially love them during the summer months where we can eat outside.
There's this thing that happens in Australia. It's been going on for years. It involves inviting family and friends around and having a couple of beers. It happens mostly when the sun comes out, and it can last into the night. It's a guaranteed solution to make everything all right. You know what it is? It's a barbecue, an Aussie barbecue. It's a barbie, it's a party, it's fair income and true blue. Barbecue, it's what we do, an Aussie barbecue. From Phuket to Parramatta, really doesn't matter if you're a hipster, fashionista or a dag. From Timbuktu to Dunedoo, just do what Doug from Dubbo do. Grab yourself a bevy and a snag. It's a barbecue, an Aussie barbecue. It's a barbie, it's a party, it's fair income and true blue. Barbecue, it's what we do, an Aussie barbecue. We are blessed here in this country with folks from far and wide, but in the end, you know, we're all the same. So come on down to our backyard and I'm sure you will agree, you can't be cooking meat over a flame. That's our barbecue, our Aussie barbecue. It's a barbie, it's a party, it's fair income and true blue. Barbecue, oh yeah, it's what we do, an Aussie barbecue. It's a barbecue, an Aussie barbecue. It's a barbie, it's a party, it's fair income and true blue. Barbecue, oh yeah, it's what we do, an Aussie barbecue. An Aussie barbecue. An Aussie barbecue. Don't forget the irrigard.
At an Aussie barbecue, you will usually find things like lamb, sausages, chicken, and beef steaks. Although some people tend to eat kangaroo meat. Oh no. There are more kangaroos than people in Australia, which is crazy. However, we do not eat koalas because they are endangered. Now let's talk about winter foods. During winter, we eat lots of soups like vegetable soup or pumpkin soup. We eat winter fruits like pears, pomegranates, and bananas. And vegetables like carrots, cabbage, eggplant, and tomatoes. In Australia, we sometimes call things by a different name to what you would call them in the United States. Let's play a game called What Do You Call This? You might call this a bell pepper, but I would call this a capsicum. This is called a cantaloupe in the United States, but in Australia we call this melon rock melon. Next we have cilantro, but I would call this coriander. You call these French fries, but I would call these chips. Just like your regular potato chip, we refer to all potato chips and French fries as chips. Last we have this drink called Sprite, but we would call this lemonade. In America, you call lemonade a drink made out of lemons and sugar. We don't have that in Australia. I hope you've all enjoyed learning about the foods that we eat in Australia. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, please feel free to email me. Thank you for watching, and g'day, mate!